This is my toy robot design. Let me just skim through the code here so that it's on video. The robot controls are fairly straightforward. This is the left side of the robot with 2 DC motors. This is the right side of the robot with 2 DC motors. If I go ahead and walk you through this, I have some, call up the remote and servo motor library, define some of my variables. I start out by making sure the servo motors are at 0 degrees. I don't want them moving. I want to be able to use the full 180 degree rotation for one of them. As I go down, I defined some functions here, which essentially is just the forward function will cue all DC motors to move forward, and then the reverse function will have them all go in reverse. The right side, when I go to turn right, the right will go to 0 and the left will continue at full force. And then it's the opposite for when I'm turning left. The left side will cut off and the right side will keep pushing forward, which will turn the motor, or turn the robot to the left. Come in here into the void loop. I start receiving the information from the remote. I am also receiving information from the distance sensor. Currently I have the serial print off right now, just so we can see the controls better of the remote. And then I essentially have it that if an object gets under 30 inches with this remote, immediately all the motors stop moving. The servo motors go through a sequence. I have 3 servo motors. The first one's for the arm, the second one's for the claw, and the third one's for a shoulder. So when an object is close enough, all the motors stop, the arm goes down, the claw closes, the arm goes back up, the shoulder rotates 180 degrees, the claw opens, which drops the toy into a bucket that's located on the robot, and then finally the shoulder rotates back to its original position. So the servo motors all get positioned back where they're supposed to. Now, after that, if it's still detecting an object within 30 inches, it'll go again and it'll pick up another toy. However, if there's just a single toy, once it puts that toy into the bucket, it will no longer be on the distance sensor, so it'll no longer be running this loop. And in that case, else, all the servo motors should be in the 0 position. That's somewhat redundant, but just to make sure that they're all in the 0 degree position. And then I allow the controls on my robot, or on my remote, to drive forward. I can drive forward with 2, reverse with 8, left with 4, right with 6. And that's my whole thing. So let me go ahead and start the simulation. So I got my distance sensor here. Let me go ahead and hit 2, and we start seeing 17 pop up, and sure enough, my motors are going forward. If I hit 4, 0, positive, 6, 0, positive, it's turning right, and then 8, of course, all of them go negative in reverse. Now if I get close to an object, right when it gets below 30 inches, my sequence starts. So my arm goes down, my claw grabs the toy, my arm comes back up, I rotate 180 degrees, the claw releases the toy, and then I rotate 180 degrees again. Now since that toy is gone, I can now go back to driving around using these buttons. And that's my toy robot.